In the year 43, the greatest army in the world sails for land its own soldiers call cursed. On its shores wait warring tribes, ancient druids, and a prophecy about one chosen child. But the true enemy hides where no one is looking. It begins on a Roman ship. 400 vessels carry 20,000 men to invade Britain. But 4 soldiers have refused to board, too frightened to march into a land that terrifies even hardened troops. Their commander reminds them why. Britain is said to be ruled by the dead, its forests full of demons. Yet fear is no excuse. When these men joined, they swore an oath to obey every order the emperor gave. The punishment for desertion is death by stoning. But the general offers a colder bargain. Whichever of the 4 cuts the throats of the other 3 will be spared and taken back into the ranks. One soldier named Lucius finds the nerve and kills the other 3. Rather than despise him, the general is impressed, saying he will need hard men like this once the army reaches the far shore. The general makes a strange promise. When they sight land, he says, the wind will fall and the waves will vanish, and they will drop anchor under perfect sunshine. It sounds like madness, but they set out anyway. Far away in Britain, a young salt farm girl waits for a coming-of-age ritual. Her mother once painted her face white and brought her here. Now the girl is told that being a woman is the finest thing in the world. Her mother shares a quiet secret. The girl does not have to obey everything her father says. It is a small rebellion passed between them, a hint that this ordinary child is being made ready for something far from ordinary. An elder tells the girl she carries a smoke spirit inside her. To become an adult, she must pass through a frightening ritual and come out changed. She is nervous, but she goes forward into it. Meanwhile, a filthy, ragged man crawls toward the sacred druid stones. He is an outcast druid, and he is desperate to speak with Varen, the supreme druid leader, warning that he must deliver a message before it is too late. The sun will not rise tomorrow, he cries. But the druids drive him back, warning that an outcast knows better than to come here. So his warning is ignored and he is cast out once more. Elsewhere, 2 rival kingdoms try to end an old blood feud with a marriage. King Pellinor of the Cantii and Queen Antidia of the Rigni each accept a gift, hoping a wedding will bind their peoples in peace.
Also accept this gift from yours.
Well, at least the rain held off. You're ready.
A young Cantii princess is married to the queen's only son. It should be a day of joy, but hatred still burns between the tribes, and one guest snarls he would drink their blood before letting it mix with his own. That night the marriage ends in horror. Rather than lie with her enemy husband, the young bride maims the prince so he can never father an heir. The peace collapses into fresh war, and the queen's fury will haunt them for years. At the Cantii fortress, King Pellinor rages at his son, the Prince Felon, for a failed raid. He warns this war will now rage for generations, and forbids the prince from leaving the fortress again without his word. The salt farm girl breaks a sacred rule. During her ritual, she is forbidden to speak, yet she talks with her sister about a beach they visited. Her sister tells her of a cave a few miles across the river. The outcast druid crosses paths with the girl and grudgingly agrees to guide her, but only as far as the river. He warns that whatever catastrophe is coming, it is not about her, though even he cannot yet finish the thought. News reaches the Cantii that changes everything. A scout reports an army larger than any he has seen, with more spearmen than any battlefield ever held. Suddenly, the tribe's little wars look like nothing at all. The Romans have crossed the water and built boats to carry a whole army inland. Prince Felon is warned the true danger has arrived. Yet within his own family, quiet talk of who will one day be king already stirs. The Roman general learns his cavalry has secured landing points along the coast. He orders the march inland to continue, with more than enough food and captured slaves to carry the army into the heart of the tribes. His officers joke grimly that they have invaded hell itself. Still, the general keeps his cold method, finding a river on level ground, marching his men there by noon, and digging defensive ditches by sunset.
Northeast. We can be there by noon and have ditches dug by sunset.
Legate.
We've searched. No sign of him.
The outcast druid tells the girl what the Romans truly are. He calls them foot soldiers of a great earth demon, one of the 7 mouths of hell that rose from the underworld and now spreads Rome across the world. The girl begs him to take her home to her sister and grandfather. He refuses coldly, saying she has no idea how hard the journey is, and he will not risk his life so she can say goodbye to her family. The general notices something odd about the landing. The Celts had gathered on the beach in their thousands, yet when his army arrived, not a single warrior met them. It is as if the tribes never knew he was coming. That night, the general does something strange to one of his own men. He questions the frightened soldier about his private gods, then commands him to renounce them and give his body and soul to Varen of the Druids. The soldier resists, then breaks. The Roman general, invader of Britain, is secretly bound to something far darker than Rome. He is not merely conquering this land, He is serving a hidden master within it. At the fortress, the princess quarrels with her brother as their tribe braces for war. Warriors stream in from the villages, and the stronghold built for exactly this moment fills with fighting men. The druid insists he carries no passengers. He claims a vast mission far beyond a lost girl, speaking of the stones on which time itself stands, and the ghosts of the dead churned into a storm by what is coming. He announces a wild plan, saying he must reach Rome, kill the emperor, then face down the great earth demon himself. The girl mocks him, but he shrugs off her doubt, telling her she does not even have a name yet.
Kill the emperor. Then I have to face down the great self. And to be perfectly honest,
I bet the Romans...
The druid spares another child they meet, then studies the girl closely. He says he knew her mother, and he notices a mark in her eye, a black spot in the pupil. It is the first quiet sign that this girl is no ordinary child. In the Roman camp, the officers weigh a nervous army. The men were near mutiny back in Gaul, and after one day in Britain, they are ready to swim home. The commander wonders if his own frightened soldiers are what he should fear most. The general lays out his true method. It is the same as in Egypt. Find the local chieftain, learn what his people want, then find a weak point and push. Push hard until the whole land finally breaks open. His second-in-command asks why he personally begged the emperor for this campaign. The general will not answer plainly, only recalling a strange trick they once saw in a market, hinting at a deeper hunger driving him here. A wounded Roman staggers before the general, claiming to speak for the dead. He warns the army has desecrated a sacred tree, and that only a proper sacrifice will calm the anger of the underworld before it is too late. At dawn, the Romans appear at the gates of the Cantii fortress. The alarm goes up, and the aging King Pelener calls for his torch. A lone rider has come not to fight, but to carry a message from the Roman general.
So here.
The princess argues that this is not yet a war, and that there is still a chance to talk. Distrustful but willing, the old king agrees to hear what the single Roman envoy has come to say. The envoy declares himself a servant of the emperor, protected by the sacred law of parley. But the old king answers with contempt, telling him to go back to Rome and spitting at his feet. In that instant, the peace is gone. Now it is war. The outcast druid and the girl barely escape 3 Roman riders who thunder past without seeing them. He insists it was no luck. A charm he left to protect himself somehow shielded her instead, which quietly unsettles him. The girl finds her home overrun. The Romans have caged the men of her village and threaten to kill them all if a single soldier is harmed. Families are torn apart, and the enemy speaks of the captured women as prizes. An officer worries over the soldier, who died claiming to know the general's family history. It makes no sense that a man would give his life this way, but the general shrugs it off and wanders away alone. The girl finally learns the druid's secret. He was not cast out for madness, but because he was possessed by a demon named Pucca, one of 3 demon kings, so feared the druids never even joke about it. Because the demon cannot be killed, the druids could not destroy the man either. As long as it sleeps inside him, he is safe from their revenge. But with the ground trembling, he feels it beginning to stir awake. At the river, the druid tries to leave the girl behind, pointing her toward a safe cave through demon woods, cliffs, and wolves. He wishes her a safe journey and turns to go on alone. The girl refuses the safe path. Her father was not home, she insists, and may be a prisoner, so she will follow the druid to find the Romans. To break her will, he cruelly claims he saw her father killed. The girl traps him in his own lie, noting no one carries weapons to the ritual, then catching him tangling the details. Furious, she brands him a liar, and he admits he made it up to be rid of her. The Roman general studies a great mountain fortress called Krugjunen. Its natural defenses could hold thousands of soldiers, and taking it would give Rome command of all the coastal tribes. It becomes the prize he means to seize.
High perimeter for bowmen. Main fortress is deep inside.
We take it over, we'd command all the coastal tribes. But in the south, bring me one of the children.
First, the general questions a captured Cantii boy. Gently, he learns about King Pelener, about the strange runes marked on the king's face, and about the druids who alone can travel between the living and the dead. The boy admits his mother calls the general a demon, and that his own father was killed by Roman soldiers. Still, the general keeps him calm, drawing out everything the frightened child knows about the druids and their power. The general gives a chilling order. He commands his officer to crucify prisoners 2 an hour as a public show, so that grim news reaches King Pelener as fast as possible. Cruelty is used coldly as a weapon. The executions horrify the royal family. The princess pleads for the king to relent, but her brother says their father's will is set. He will fight as his ancestors did, with no parley and only open war. Inside the fortress, a suspicious voice warns the old king about weakness within his own walls. The whisper points straight at his daughter, the Princess Kara, claiming she keeps dangerous secrets from her father. Defying everyone, Kara rides in secret to the Roman camp. She names herself daughter of Pelennor, king of the Cantii, and demands the general's word of safe parley before she will speak. He grants it. Kara makes her offer. Stop killing her people and then she will talk. The general is amused, for he knows her father did not send her. She has come alone, gambling everything to buy her tribe a little more time. The bargain is struck. Kara promises to speak with her father if the general halts the crucifixions, and he orders the executions stopped. She has won a pause in the killing, but placed her own life in terrible danger. Then the general tells a story to unsettle her. A boy said that long ago the Druids warned King Pelennor his beloved young wife was cursed, carrying Roman blood and part demon, destined to destroy him. So the old king had his own young wife flayed alive. The general lets Kara feel the weight of it, for this doomed queen was her mother. He plants doubt about her father and her own blood and leaves her shaken.
And had her flayed alive.
Kara returns and tells the prince what she has done, that the general halted the crucifixions. She now carries a dangerous secret, one that could turn her own father against her. The prince discovers forbidden Roman scrolls Kara has kept since girlhood, given to her by their mother. Among the tribe, all writing is seen as the work of devils, and he is horrified she has hidden them. Kara confesses she went to the Roman camp and made a bargain to stop the killing. The prince is stunned, telling her she is exactly like their cursed mother, and that if their father knew, he would flay her too. A Roman officer approaches under a parley pole, and this time it is the vengeful Rigni Queen Antidia who has come. She sits before the general, spitting her hatred of the rival Cantii. The queen boasts of thousands of warriors and a fortress stocked for a 10-year siege. But the general offers the same deal Rome offers all: to become citizens, keep their lands and gods, and gain Rome's protection. The queen wants none of it. She has her own offer and reveals her maimed son as proof of her grief. 2 years ago, the Druids ordered him married to a Cantii bride, and she reluctantly obeyed her ancestors. On the wedding night, she says, the Cantii bride crippled her only son, ending his line forever. That bride was Kara, daughter of Pelennor. The queen believes the gods have sent the Romans to deliver her revenge. So the Regni queen names her price. She will accept Rome only as an ally against the hated Cantii, and only if the general swears to hand Kara over to her alive. He agrees, trusting that hatred is the surest bond.
We will accept you here, but only as allies against the Canti scum there. To deliver Kara, daughter, to me.
That night, the general does something reckless. He hands command of the column to his officer and rides off alone into the dark, saying only that parts of this mission he cannot discuss with anyone. The general's 2 escorts plot to murder him for abandoning them in this cursed land. But when enemy warriors ambush them instead, the fight fails, and the general orders that the attackers be taken alive. Alone in the wild, the general finally meets the one he truly came for. A shadowy druid greets him, warning he is brave or foolish to come, and asks if he is ready for what he will find. The general says he is ready. By firelight, the druids receive the general as their own creature, a baby returned from the underworld. His true weapon, they say, is not the sword but himself, for they are the dead and he serves them. Then they reveal the secret behind the invasion. Julius Caesar failed because he fought these people's warriors. To conquer this land, they say, you do not kill its people. You kill their god. And so the true war begins. In the Cantii hall, the old king kneels his daughter before him and names her queen. Her eyes now lead the tribe. The women who once cursed his wife whisper a darker vow beneath the ceremony. Kara swears the tribe warmed her, comforted her, gave her a place. But her plans have already changed. Since she looked the Roman general in the eye, something in her has turned toward peace, not war.
When I wept, you comforted me. I belong.
To make peace, she needs the druid's blessing, and if her father will not speak with them, she will. The old ways say a spine of oak gives a king strength. She has until sunset to choose her path. The druids speak of one cycle ending and the next beginning. But Kara's brother rages that this was her plan all along, the reason she crept to the Romans, betraying her own people while pretending to serve them. Across the land, the Roman general rides to the vengeful queen of the rival tribe. He tells her he has a spy inside the Cantii fortress, and that spy has seen Kara come seeking a secret deal of her own. He asks the vengeful queen if they are truly on the same side. To prove her loyalty, he makes her kneel and kiss his feet. She swallows her pride, because his legions are the weapon she needs against her enemy. The bargain is sealed. If her warriors lay siege to the Cantii fortress, they will do it with the full weight of the Emperor behind them. The weak and the old inside those walls will be put to the sword. Far away, the blind girl's guide senses something waking. If the demon Pewicca is here, then the ancient supreme druid must know it too. He remembers a brother who was not strong enough, found hanging from an oak. The outcast druid begins to test the salt farm girl. First, he must learn how ready she is. He tells her the Romans are foot soldiers for a great earth demon, who brings only chaos dressed up as protection. He explains that the supreme druid once carried the Roman general down into the underworld. Whatever the general sought there is buried deep. Only later will the girl understand what he was truly seeking. But the girl's father was not taken for the demon's sake, he says. The gods would never choose her for a small reason. They chose her because they believe she is strong enough to defeat the earth demon himself. To do that, the outcast warns she must be ready to sacrifice everything. The words frighten her. She is only a child who dragged wet salt up a hill, and now the whole prophecy seems to rest on her thin shoulders. In the fortress, the newly crowned queen offers a proven warrior command of all her forces. She is gathering strength while her hall grows uneasy, and the men around her drift into old rivalries and quiet betrayals.
If you agree, I would have you serve as general.
Help me.
In a hidden chamber, the flayed mother's guardians chant a curse to the Dark Mother. Blinded by fear, bound and cursed, they beg her to send a demon to do their will. A shadow answers and it fixes on the queen. On the road, the salt farm girl meets a grieving father and gives him a token, saying it is for someone important. He speaks of a place the gods keep for the ones they love most, where his lost daughter waits. The outcast druid meets a spirit who thanks him for keeping his part of a bargain. He wants nothing more to do with the underworld and strikes a new deal, that each will keep away from the other from now on. Outside the Cantii walls, the rival army masses, thousands of warriors thirsty for the queen's blood. The Roman general rides between the lines and orders the siege to hold until he gives the word to strike. The vengeful queen warns him her warriors will die in that field before they stand down. But he counts the legions marching behind him, 20,000 strong, and she knows her thousands cannot match that tide. Inside the fortress, the Cantii queen receives the Roman general. He claims Rome despises human sacrifice, that a new queen means new times and a new way of doing business, and offers her a golden future built on peace. The queen answers that she keeps command of her own warriors, that no Cantii will ever be a Roman slave, and only in 5 years will they speak of taxes. He smiles and agrees, hiding whatever he is really after. Then, almost lightly, he mentions a young girl and a blind man his soldiers came across, and asks if they are sheltered here. The queen swears no such pair has passed her gates, though the lie hangs in the air. That night, a demon thing stalks the shelters, and the girl and her guide must run. He is going to kill us, a stranger warns, and the outcast druid drags the girl into the dark before the creature can reach her. The Cantii queen turns on the Roman general, throwing at him the words the supreme druid buried the night her mother was taken. They mean Hope is the small daughter of a blind father, and she flings them as pure defiance. The girl learns the weight of the words spoken over her. You are the one, it is you, now go. She is the child the prophecy promised, meant to be rescued so she can rise and one day turn Rome back into the sea. On the road, the blind man presses her about the thing at the fortress. He may be blind, he says, but that was no man. She hides the truth, and he warns that whatever she is carrying, she cannot carry it alone. He tells her of a tiny island his own father once rode him to, only goats and an old stone shelter, but safe. Her face, he says quietly, was the very last thing he ever saw before his sight was taken from him. Elsewhere, the fallen Cantii prince travels with a fierce novice druid who insists she is no ordinary girl. She is Brenna, goddess of war and destruction, the fair-haired mortal the prophecy said would save him. The prince mocks her grand claims, and she reminds him coldly that the prophecy said nothing of love. She is only there to save him. Where the prophecy sends them next, she says, he must simply learn to trust. The prince demands the whole prophecy. The novice tells how the gods paired them on purpose, how he was passed over as king because they had another plan. Had he been crowned, she says, he would never have freed her. The prince, worn down, tells her she is the smarter of them and hands her the decisions from now on. They can argue all they like, but when the road forks, she chooses. It is the first small step of them becoming a band.
So, from now on, you make the decisions. And we can argue. But if it comes down to it, and I want to take it, well, then the high road we shall take.
In an abandoned village, 2 Roman deserters ransack what they take for a witch doctor's house and find his strange hoard. One keeps chattering, unaware how far his friend has broken under what the two of them have done. The steadier deserter turns a dark thought over aloud. Everywhere they march, the gods change their names and shapes. If a man born elsewhere would worship other gods, he wonders, then maybe none of the gods are real. Back on the prince's road, the novice recites how the prophecy ends, that the mortal lies with the goddess and their children rule the rival tribe for ages. He hates that tribe and swears he will never father her child. By the fire, the salt girl and the blind man grieve the sister they lost. He blames himself for telling her to run, for failing to protect them both. He does not want his eyes back, he says. He wants the girl back. In the dark, a distorted voice hunts the girl, the demon Piwika, taunting that at the fortress she was afraid to come near. A protecting spirit whispers that if she keeps to the path, the demon cannot touch her. The legions of the dead march behind her now, the spirit says, and only she can guide them into the light. You are the ones. The blind man wakes to her cry, blind to the war being fought for her soul in the darkness. The outcast druid returns and admits she is not just an annoying pain after all. He has worked out why the Romans truly came. The great earth demon has crossed the sea to destroy the prophesied child before she can rise.
Bad enough as it is. It turns out you're not a pointy little pain in the ass.
Thank you.
Bad news is,
The blind man asks whether she truly saw her dead sister in the underworld. She did, and the sister told her the prophecy is real. That is exactly what terrifies her, that all of this weight is genuinely meant for her. Then the blind man tells her the hardest thing. She has a journey to make into great danger, and she cannot bring him. He puts her in the outcast druid's care, though she swore she would never leave him behind. He holds her and says children grow up, go on their way, and come back to tell their old father everything. Even if it is not in this world, he promises. He will see her and her sister again, all of them together. He asks only to be set on the southern road, saying he knows that path like his own hand. Then he warns the outcast that if any harm comes to the girl, blind or not, he will hunt him down. The druid answers Crystal. At the enemy camp, the vengeful queen refuses to parley, though her own people run low on meat. When winter bites, she says they will see whose will is stronger. She would rather starve the whole fortress than show mercy. The Roman general gathers a room of hired killers, criminals and assassins from far-off lands, and shows off a poison master and a strange crossbow. He wants one small target and offers a fortune for the deed. The girl who left the fortress with a blind father, he tells them, is the child of the druid's prophecy. Whoever brings him her head will be 10 times richer and shielded by the emperor forever, across the whole empire. Alone with the general's officer, the outcast's old crime surfaces, the blinding of the girl's father. No spirit made him do it, the man insists. He simply felt like it, unaware he was serving a prophecy all along. The Cantii queen counts the last of her treasure and weighs surrender. But she has guessed the truth about the Roman general. He came talking taxes, she tells her trusted man, while hunting something far darker. She knows the vengeful queen will spare no one, that she will be killed last and made to watch every child die. Giving up the fortress would only buy a crueler death. So the gates stay shut and the hunger grows. The outcast and the girl reach a crossroads, and he needles her that maybe he is the blind man of the prophecy. He warns what comes next, that in his rage the earth demon looses 3 hellhounds to hunt the chosen one.
oh, I see where this is going.
Do you? Because I think everyone...
He wasn't blind to start with.
Blind father smothered the blind man.
Let me tell you something else the prophecy says. You want to know what happened?
But he cannot tell her how it ends. That is as far as he got before the druids threw him out. The prophecy is not complete, and neither of them knows whether the child of the prophecy is meant to live or to die. In the Roman camp, the general takes a young scribe aside and speaks of how words outlast bones, how the scribe alone decides what the future will believe happened here. Then he offers the trusting young man a drink. The general's trusted officer is bound and questioned. For almost a moon, the spy inside the fortress has sent nothing, and the general senses a deeper rot in the man he thought he owned. Loyalties are unraveling. The Cantii queen turns the same test on her captured spy, closing her eyes and swearing she can hear a lie. She promises a terrible punishment if he betrays her, and orders him to do his duty for the tribe at last. The young scribe lies dead, and the general grieves aloud for the 4 daughters the boy left behind. He asks the bound officer whether the killing was his own doing, and gives him one last piece of advice. Runs. On the road, the outcast teaches the girl the old skills, reading the birds and swooping starlings, laying out bones to sense danger. She is drowning in grief, certain she has doomed the blind father she deserted. She breaks, saying everyone she has loved is dead, and she is not strong enough. Whatever was meant to happen will not happen through her. She is not the one, she insists, however much the prophecy claims she is. She begs the outcast to carry her into the underworld to see her lost sister. He refuses, warning she has none of the skill and would never return. She does not care. She would rather cross over than fail everyone. Wandering and delirious with hunger, she cries out for her father, and something breaks open inside her. I was wrong, she gasps over and over as the darkness rushes in and a strange power begins to take hold of her. A poison master finds the girl half dead and coldly tells her he is death itself. It seems the hunters have finally cornered the child of prophecy, alone and starving in the wild, with no guide left to shield her. In the Roman camp, the general buries the dead and promotes a loyal soldier to fill the traitor officer's place. The old prefectus has vanished, and a new man now stands at the general's side, eager and unstained. The general visits the vengeful queen to settle terms. He takes the fortress, she takes the land. Then he reveals his true price, 500 Cantii heads as blood sacrifice to please his gods, and she laughs, delighted. The trusted man visits the caged Cantii queen with a warning. Her own spy burned the grain store, he says, a poison planted by the rival queen. She calls it a lie, blind as her father, unwilling to see the betrayal. Out in the wild, the girl faces her captor and calls him what he is, a hellhound sent to hunt her. She names herself the small daughter of the prophecy, certain he is carrying her straight to the Romans for the reward. The hunter lays down 3 rules. Cheek him again and he will cut her. He does not care who she is. And most surprising of all, he never said he was taking her to the Romans, hinting his own game is only beginning. At the Supreme Druids' camp, the fallen prince waits among strange holy folk. For 4 moons, the ancient druid has stayed sealed in his tent, summoning no one, while the impatient goddess girl beside him seethes. The outcast druid arrives at the same camp, offering to sell the ancient druid something he found swinging in the forest and warning of the Roman hunt. He haggles hard, having learned that need is weakness here. He reveals the girl lies buried in the ground half a mile north, a rock at her feet, a reed at her head, waiting for the rising moon. Whether she still breathes and what she will become hangs on the coming night.
The river bands.
I know the place.
There's a rock at her feet in business.
It's easy doing business with the soulless.
Yeah, but...
Then the novice druid steps into the light and speaks her secret aloud. She is Ania, but she goes by another name, one they all know. Her true name, she says, is Brenna, the goddess of war herself. In the druid caves, a young Regni woman kneels before the ancient druid, certain she is the reborn goddess of the prophecy. But he tells her the truth. She is no goddess. She is only Ania of the Regni. The deposed Cantii princess goes to the old druid and demands to know how the story ends. She only wants to protect the child of prophecy. He stares at her a long, quiet moment, then agrees to show her what comes next. At the fortress, the Roman general waits with easy patience as the Cantii surrender. The stronghold is his on one condition. Every one of her people must be spared. He gives his word without blinking, but a trap is already set. The general accepts the surrender in the emperor's name, then adds a condition of his own. He wants to show her how the empire truly works. He gives the order, fire. The Cantii people are cut down where they stand. Then he demands the prophesied child, the girl who escaped. As long as she lives and runs free, he has not won. The princess refuses to speak. Defiant to the last, she dies without betraying the girl. The old druid tells the young man, who once thought himself chosen, that the age of druids is ending. A new light burns somewhere in the world, small and fragile. Someone must find it and help it grow stronger than kings.
Yes.
The gods have a fate for all of us. But there is a light in this world.
So closes the first chapter of the war. The princess is gone, the Cantii scattered, the child of prophecy lost in the wild. Now the story leaps forward. 2 long years pass over the conquered land. It opens far to the east at a crucifixion. 2 bored soldiers watch a dying man draw a crowd, and one ends his suffering with a spear. Something strange stirs the instant the blade goes in. That spear will matter greatly later. 2 years on in Britannia, the general soaks in a stolen sacred bath and hosts the frightened chieftains. He offers a simple bargain. Keep your gods, but give them Roman names, so the empire can pretend all worship the same thing. Into this strides the woman who now calls herself Queen of the Cantii, the general's newest ally. She scorns the druids openly, insisting they have vanished. A rival queen calls her a Roman puppet to her face, but the deal is done. Back at his camp, the general is losing patience. 2 years of searching, and still the girl slips away. He orders his men to widen the hunt and knock on every door. Then a great procession arrives on the road below. The Roman emperor himself has come to visit the conquered island, a coarse, unwell old man who hates the place on sight. He brings stunning news. The general is recalled to Rome in triumph, the golden hero of the conquest. But the general does not want to go. He insists the island is not one, and the reason is the druids. They hold the people through belief and fear, and belief makes men kill. The Emperor only laughs and refuses him. In the Druid camp, the ancient leader rises and declares the waiting over. The gods have spoken. The time has come for the Druids to fight Rome. One child walks the land, and only through her can the country be saved. But one troubled Druid confesses a secret. In the leader's cave, she saw a sign scratched in the dust. The mark of the snake beside the sign of the dead man. It is an omen so old no one living has seen it. That night over dinner, the general raises a cup to the drunken emperor's victory. Then his voice changes. This war, he says, is not the emperor's war. The emperor grows dizzy and sick. His wine, he realizes too late, has been poisoned. The general tears away his mask. The emperor is a hollow stand-in who never grasped the true game. An older, hidden war is being fought here, and in it the general has always been in charge. I am hell, he says. Where I walk is hell.
You are not a god. You are slubbering mark.
I don't feel very well.
Guards burst in and drag the choking emperor back from death, but the mask has slipped. Somewhere in the dark, a chilling voice speaks. A brother has returned, and he means to find the girl. An old servant is stirring. The story turns to the girl herself. In driving rain, the outcast druid who guards her speaks with a spirit only he can see. He tells the child there is someone he needs her to find, and gives her bitter potions for the vision. But first we meet a gentle farmer in the northern hills, waking beside the woman who loves him. She asks about a sister he lost after the invasion. He speaks of her fondly. Her name, he says, is Kara. He takes a bullock to market and sells it for 20 silver, a record price. But that night he stops at a grim market of war relics. On the block sits a caged, broken woman, once the proud rival queen of the Rigni. Then the auctioneer brings out a holy prize, the severed head of a young Cantii queen who reigned only months before dying against Rome. The crowd laughs. The head belongs to the dead princess, Kara, the very sister he spoke of that morning. A thin stranger bids 20 silver and wins the grim prize. It is the farmer, and he is no farmer. He is the fallen Cantii prince, brother to the murdered queen who ran away, changed his name, and hid his royal past in the north. Meanwhile, the ancient druid divides his followers, sending them across the land to rouse the tribes for war. But then a bold druid rises before them all and openly accuses the leader of hiding the truth about the dead man. The frightened woman is forced to speak. She admits she saw the sign of the dead man. The challenger seizes on it and demands to know if their leader is secretly the demon Laka. The leader denies it, and the challenger calls for mortal combat. In the north, the disguised prince returns to a joyful surprise. His woman has borne him a son, and the village celebrates the firstborn boy. But that night, the frightened druid is banished for betraying the leader's secret in the circle.
Night to surprise you.
Cheers for Rolf! What kept you, brother? No matter.
In the hut, the prince finally tells his woman the truth. He is felon of the Cantii, son of the old king, a prince who fled a prophecy he could not carry. She does not believe him until he admits how he spent the silver. He spent every coin at the market on his sister's severed head, because seeing it woke his old sense of destiny. But her brothers overhear. Furious that he threw their money away for a rotting head, they drag him out into the yard. They shout at him to be a plain farmer and forget his mad talk of princes. But every time they ask his name, he answers the same. He is felon of the Cantii. So they hang him from a rope while his baby son cries in the hut. In the druid circle, the combat begins, leader against challenger. Blades clash and blood is drawn. In the end, the old druid strikes his rival down and stands victorious, chanted as the true druid, though some murmur of dark magic. But the prince is not dead. Cut down and gasping, he crawls to his sister's head and swears an oath over it. He wishes he had half her strength. He vows he will not fail, that he truly believes now there is a light in this world. The saved prince wakes to a soft, dangerous stranger offering him an apple. The man knows too much. He knows the prince is King Pelinor's son. At last he gives his name, Harka, and then I am all of this. This is the awakened dead man, the first of the two ancient brothers come to claim the grieving prince. The demon brother who once ruled has risen, and he means to gather his own players for the great game. At the Roman camp, the general is interrupted at his prayers. A wild queen screams at his gates that the restless dead cry out against him, naming him a demon. He shrugs it off, but his puppet queen confirms something darker.
Lois, come quickly. I'm busy.
There are bodies rotting among the trees. Many children sacrificed and left unburied. She watched it happen. The general muses about false prophets he has met, certain of their missions. Some are only mad. Some are truly dangerous. In the woods, the child, hunting, meets a lone soldier who has deserted his post. He is kind to her, admires her spear, then quietly slips away. He is a haunted man carrying a hidden weapon, and their paths will cross again. The dead man works patiently on the grieving prince, feeding him and drawing out his guilt over the sister he abandoned. He shares his own ancient wound, a beloved brother who long ago used his trust to destroy him and steal his place. Slowly the truth surfaces. The one who wronged the dead man is the same being who wronged the prince. Elsewhere, the old druid tests the former warrior woman, who gives up her infant son forever to prove her faith to the gods. The dead man reads the runes carved into the dead queen's head, and their meaning is monstrous. The old druid himself wrote there that this princess was never a true queen at all, but only a sacrifice, a lamb marked for the gods. Armed with that proof, the dead man moves against his brother. Before the druids, he brands their leader as Rome's puppet and a servant of the demon. The road splits two ways, he declares, and he will lead a new path. The dead man has risen, followers cry, and many peel away to take up his call. The warrior woman goes with him, swearing she serves the dead man now. The ancient order is broken in two, exactly as the hidden enemy always intended.
The dead man!
In the wild, the child and her guide bicker through the sacred rites under a full moon. He teaches her the next line. A maiden will fall into the arms of the eagle and be reborn at the Lake of Tears. But the girl catches a second, darker reading. The word may not mean reborn at all. It may mean sacrificed. The guide brushes it aside, insisting prophecies are never read plainly. Then armed hunters burst from the trees, and the pair must use a druid trick to slip free. A soft, sinister voice sends hunters after new prey. North of the river, beneath the crow's rock, lives a fisherman with 3 fair sons. Bring them to me, the dead man commands. His plans now reach far beyond the missing girl. The child and her guide flee the ruined camp, having lost 20 moons of gathered herbs. He rages at her, blaming her failure to truly surrender to the prophecy. Unless she gives body and soul, he fears, they are wasting their time. The dead man arrives at the fisherman's shore and greets the 3 fair sons with easy menace, saying they must talk. The demon brother is gathering his own players for the great game against his ancient rival. 2 rough sellswords force their way into the Roman camp, and among them stands a familiar figure. It is the deserter from the woods, the vanished officer Lucius, come to sell the general something buried a mile away in the ground. The deserter names his price, twice his own weight in silver for whatever he has hidden. Curious and wary, the general agrees to play the game and ride to market. Old betrayals are circling back at last to be settled. The girl and her guide push toward a new hiding place. Then he grows serious. Last night he had a deep and forbidden dream. He saw a vast green river split cleanly into 2 streams, a river that has no branches and never divides. The split river is a dark omen. It means the druids have shattered, their old leader has lost control, and the dead themselves are now at war with one another. The girl feels suddenly terribly alone. The cast-out druid visits the dead man, not to join him but to warn him, begging him to stop this black game and return to the peace of the dead. The dead man only laughs, then hands him a message to carry back to the old druid. The fallen prince, now the dead man's servant, tells a fisherman's family a great destiny awaits their 3 sons. He pays a fortune and takes the boys, insisting it is not for mortals to question the gods' ways.
How can this be? If the gods choose us, trust me.
What I mean is,
In a Roman cell, the puppet queen watches a torturer break a prisoner, and finally recognizes the terrible thing behind the general's eyes. The demon Laka is truly inside him. Now she sees it clearly, far too late. The girl and her guide reach a new cave, and he tells her a harsh truth. She really is alone. He can help her with many things, but not with that. It is simply her fate. Then their fire draws an unwelcome visitor out of the dark. The fallen prince arrives with the 3 fishermen's sons, delivering children into the dead man's grip. The dead man tests the boys with a riddle, and the prince quietly answers that love is the deadliest power in the world. The guide tells the girl the old legend. 2 ancient brothers lived in happiness until one vanished, returned changed, and built a ring of stones around an oak by a lake. That place became the Lake of Tears, the girl's final destination. Then the girl confesses her own hidden vision. A thin, dark-eyed man with a strange symbol burned into his palm. The guide reacts with sudden fear and orders her to strike it from her mind, insisting she saw nothing. But she cannot forget it. A ghostly voice reveals the great secret. If the girl passes her trials of air, earth, water, and fire, she will reach the Lake of Tears at the 7th moon, hidden in the western lands of the Devni tribe. Only 3 know where it lies: the old druid, the risen dead man, and a 3rd guardian called the Keeper. The girl does not know the Keeper, but the voice tells her she knows one of the Keeper's own blood kin, a thread that will soon pull tight. The dead man gives the fallen prince his great task. Travel west to the Devni. The prince goes pale. He was born in those lands, and the queen who now rules them is his own estranged sister, blood he has not seen in 10 years. But this is no simple errand. The general also wants those western lands. So the puppet queen is sent ahead to her long-lost sister to sell peace and Roman gods, while soldiers wait nearby to persuade her by force if words fail.
This way your sister gets a chance to see sense. Sell her peace and taxes, but gods being no threat to theirs.
As the girl begins a new trial, the rain on her guide's face tastes of salt. They are near the sea in strange country. Something troubles him deeply. In a rare tender moment, the girl thanks him for bringing her this far. Then the moment shatters. The guide gasps, seizes on some new horror, and bolts away in raw panic. In the Western Hall, the queen who rules the Devney is stunned by wonderful news. Her long-lost sister has returned after 10 years. The reunion is warm, but the tribe's stern aunt insists the gods deserve the thanks. The trap is now planted inside the very family, with the poisoned puppet queen at its heart, come to poison her own kin for Rome and the demon. The girl, meanwhile, is told she has faced the earth and wind, and must now face the water. When the spring moon fades, she must give herself to the river, one deadly step closer to the hidden lake. And so the third act closes with every piece in motion. The girl inches toward her water trial, the dead man gathers his players, and the poisoned queen sits smiling inside the home she has come to destroy. Far to the west, the high priestess came home to a quiet lakeside village. Her sister ruled here now, keeper of a sacred lake, and the priestess had come to warn her that the whole world was changing. It was the priestess herself who had struck the peace deal with Rome. For years she had stayed away without a word, but now she returned to press her sister to bend before the invaders too. When she first became keeper, the sister explained, the old druid leader had told her a prophecy. A demon would come to these lands, join with the dark, and end the age of the druids forever. But one hope remained. A maiden, a chosen girl who, if she pleased the gods, might save them all. The keeper believed it completely, and no argument would ever turn her against her faith.
Join forces with the dark. The druids will be at an end.
Andrew.
There remains one hope. If she pleases the gods, may save her.
Elsewhere, sheltering from a storm, the salt farm girl argued with the outcast druid training her. He guarded his small fire jealously, but the cold drove her in beside him, and slowly the two grew easier together. Her lessons were strange. The prophecy said that during the trial of water she would turn into a fish, swim the rivers, and lead the way toward the sacred lake without falling into the arms of an eagle. The girl doubted every word, but her teacher only shrugged. He had not written the prophecy. Long ago, the druids had cast him out because a serpent demon lived inside him, a curse he carried like a chain. Among the tribes, the old druid leader warned that a great enemy had woken. Many had turned from him, sworn themselves to a risen figure called the Dead Man, who would soon join the Earth Demon and seize these lands. Worse, a traitor now sat inside the royal walls doing the demon's work. The fallen prince refused to believe his sister could betray them, but a voice from the shadows answered that it was not the gods who crowned her. In the confusion, a queen was struck down, and the prince learned that the girl beside him now served the dead man too. Old loyalties collapsed, and the royal house came apart in a single night of blood. Meanwhile, the outcast druid brewed a dangerous potion for his student, warning it might simply kill her. She drank it and collapsed. Watching over her, he quietly thanked her for believing, for without belief there was no hope. The Roman general had his own secret plan. He sent a hidden column west, not to guard supplies, but to hunt something the druids protected. His officers grew suspicious of these unexplained missions.
Line.
Since when do we forgive mutineers? I think we...
My beautiful sister. You anti-whore comes to poison us.
This is...
Two Roman deserters, drugged out of their minds by a witch doctor, stumbled through the forest chasing his directions. They laughed, they doubted, they nearly gave up, and then somehow they stepped into a hidden grove. Downstream, the girl and her teacher pulled a half-drowned stranger from the river. He had been chained and thrown in and remembered nothing, not even his own name. His arrival ruined the sacred trial of water. The druid was furious. The stranger had blundered into the middle of the prophecy, but the girl felt drawn to the lost young man, and against her teacher's wishes, she let him stay a few days to heal. Then the druid saw it clearly. Down by the river, the boy had been guarded by a small stone eagle. The prophecy had spoken of the arms of the eagle, and now that eagle sat 2 feet high before their eyes. At the lake, the priestess turned on the old druid leader with open threats. Rome was using him, she said, and Rome truly feared only one thing: the chosen one, the very girl of his prophecy. She demanded he tell her sister the gods had changed their minds, reminding him he had killed a king before to buy time with Rome. But he refused, warning that this path would destroy her sister instead.
Changed their minds. You did it for Rome. Don't say you did no more time with the Romans. You did it for them.
I
At the fort, a scheming officer drafted charges against the general for sending troops west without orders. The general only laughed, listing the impossible kingdoms he had already won. The Senate loved success. When pressed on why he sent the priestess toward the sacred lake, the general gave a chilling answer. She carried something in her heart, a single lie, powerful enough to shatter the druid's entire faith. Back at the grove, the drug spread through the fort like wildfire. Soldiers laughed, wept, and lost their minds. The two deserters, still tripping, decided the prisoners in the cells should be set free. They opened the cage. For a moment, everyone felt strangely at peace. Then the freed captives turned on their captors, and the gentle visions gave way to a sudden, bloody slaughter across the whole camp. At the lake, the priestess played her cruelest game. She came to the mad old queen, her own mother, and told a story from long ago of a princess, a king, and a terrible crime buried for years. On the eve of the princess's coming of age, the king came to her and forced himself upon her. Soon she was carrying a child, and her mother did nothing, calling it the will of the gods. The princess was hidden away until the baby was born. A druid took the child, and years later the princess was made to call her own daughter her sister. That daughter grew up to become the keeper of the lake. It was the darkest secret in the land. If known, it would destroy the holy places, the tribes, the whole faith. The king had died, the queen had gone mad, and only 3 people ever knew the truth. This at last was the lie the general spoke of. The keeper of the lake was not chosen by the gods at all. She was the child of a crime, and her whole sacred authority rested on a hidden horror. At the fort, the general questioned the lone survivor of the Western massacre. The druids had spared him for one reason, to carry back the story of what happened, and one soldier had brought a heavy bag as proof. In a firelit camp, the risen dead man offered a dark teaching in 3 parts. First, all that lives will die. Second, everything is true, and every weakness you fear in yourself is real. The third he saved for later.
Understand 3 things. First thing, everything... Not like that. Just like that. Sacrifice. The trees, the leaves, the butterfly...
The traitor priestess, now Rome's queen among the tribes, hunted the old druid leader. Riders searched everywhere. When they found his people, she vowed, every man, woman, and child loyal to him would be killed. In secret, the suspicious officer gathered witnesses to record a formal testimony against the general, meaning to carry every dark deed all the way to the Senate and the emperor himself. The charges were monstrous. The general had buried a loyal soldier alive, met druids in secret, taken potions and spells, and ordered children murdered and hidden in pits, and even eaten the heart of a slain ally queen. Far away, the general's old friend found the deserter who guarded a strange spear. The two had once slaughtered whole cities together, but the old friend spoke now of nightmares that stopped and of being forgiven. He asked if the deserter ever felt he was inside a story, as if some greater hand held the knife. He recalled a man they had once executed on a hill, a man who had somehow changed everything. The deserter refused to hear it, but the old friend insisted the spear held a power, and that only surrender could bring him peace. In a sudden struggle, the old friend was fatally hurt, whispering that the soldier was forgiven. The general reached the end of his journey and met the risen dead man face to face. They circled each other, sharing apples and threats, and slowly the truth of their rivalry came into the open. The general wanted one thing: the sacred lake. He was hunting a maiden from the prophecy, the daughter of a blind father traveling there. The dead man wanted her too, for his own hidden reasons. The dead man boasted he had the old druid cornered, cut off from his gods, his prophecy about to come crashing down. But the maiden, he warned, was strong now, quick as smoke, hard as smoke to catch. Pleased, the dead man finally answered the general's question. He told him where the sacred lake was. It was here, all around them, the very ground on which they stood. The trap was already closing.
Where the lake is. Want to know. All right, friend.
Returning to the fort, the general ordered his whole legion to march on the tribe's holiest place. The suspicious officer protested that there were no imperial orders for this, that he simply could not do it. So the general told him the whole story. Before Rome, before its gods, one being ruled everything, the earth demon, and every choice the general ever made served that demon's will. Then he silenced the officer for good. The dead man learned that his possessed spy had found the old druid's hidden burrow, only for the druid to slip away. Impressed, he called off the hunt. Chasing his brother was not how he meant to win. At the grove, the outcast druid pushed his student toward her final trial, though he fretted the rescued boy was breaking her focus. She felt something close, something pulling at the edge of the world. The rescued boy quietly turned the fallen prince against his fears. Reading old runes, he claimed the druid leader had honored the prince's sister rather than sacrificed her, and that the prince would carry her flame. But the demon inside the prince taunted him. Runes mean nothing, it laughed, only what the master wants. Then, fighting for himself, the prince finally broke free, declaring the serpent demon had no power over him. In another camp, the blind father spoke of his own past. Romans had killed his father and taken his eyes, yet he had come to forgive it. For without his blinding, his daughter could not be the prophecy's chosen child. At last came the trial of fire. The girl had to carry a burning crucible along a path, leaving no footprint. She tried, she screamed, she felt the heat tear at her, and finally she broke down, unable to go on.
First bit together.
But the rescued boy stepped in and carried the fire himself, walking the path as though weightless, feeling nothing. He passed the trial that had defeated her and did not even flinch at the scalding heat. That should have warned her. Alone with the girl's teacher, the boy revealed his true face. He named himself a servant sent by the dead man to spoil the prophecy and destroy the chosen one, using the druid to do it. Back at the lake, the priestess reached the heart of her sister's ruin. Then she said it plainly. Her sister was not her sister. She was her daughter, born of their own father's terrible crime. The keeper demanded to know where her father truly lay. The answer shattered her. The sacred order she had served her whole life was built on a horror, and in that moment her faith broke into pieces. She faced her people with the truth. For hundreds of years, their voices had formed the holy river that joined them to the gods. Now she declared that river poisoned, fed with lies by the druid himself. Their whole faith lay in ruins. Across the village, women screamed and wailed as the news spread, the sacred order collapsing in a single night, exactly as the general's whispered lie had promised. At the grove, the serpent demon inside the girl's teacher surged up and tried to kill her. The freed prince and the others fled with the girl into the dark, the old druid crying out that the beast was loose. Somewhere in the woods, the outcast druid woke, alone and desperate, calling for his lost student. He saw fresh, footprint-free tracks along the trial path and understood the terrible thing that had happened. The girl had failed the fire and left the sacred bow behind. The prophecy he feared was broken. He had lost the chosen one, and with her, the last hope of driving the invaders back into the sea. The girl and the rescued boy traveled on together, easy and laughing, neither remembering where home had been. Yet she could not shake a cold, sickening feeling that came and went like a shadow. The boy revealed strange gifts, calling fish from the water with druid words, full of surprises she could not explain. Each wonder should have frightened her, but instead it pulled her closer to him. The outcast druid, meanwhile, was caught by his own kind. A watching crow told him plainly what he already feared. Something as powerful as the great druid leader was at work, and it had sent this dark servant. The lost girl and the strange boy decided neither of them had a home left, so they chose to go nowhere together, heading east on a whim, two orphans of the war drifting further from the prophecy's path. The general and his hunters worked out the danger. If the dead man's servant could fool everyone, he was leading the maiden to the lake not to be reborn, but to be sacrificed for good. The outcast druid despaired, wondering if the girl had always been meant to fail. In the woods, he stumbled onto the blind father, who spoke one word that lit a spark. Atonement. Then he was gone before the druid could stop him. Alone, the outcast druid made a terrible choice. To find the lake, he would summon the very serpent demon that cursed him. Begging the gods to forgive him, he called the beast up out of his own body. Slowly, the rescued boy began to remember. A cottage by the sea, brothers, a fishing boat. The girl realized the memories were truly his, that before all this, he had been a fisherman living quietly by the water. The old druid, wrestling his demon, learned his own hidden title. He was the guardian meant to protect the maiden. A spirit told him what came next. The eagle would carry her to the lake, where she was meant to be reborn.
What? The Guardian. I didn't know. I'm the Guardian.
To reach her, the Guardian had to be hurled on an upward journey using a pinch of powdered thyme. He resisted, joking and doubting, until the spell seized him and flung him screaming out of the ordinary world. Then the boy told the girl the whole cruel truth. He had not fallen into that river by accident. He had jumped on purpose, sent to find her, to lead her astray into the arms of the eagle. The girl fought to reach the good soul buried inside him, insisting this was not truly who he was. For a moment, the boy hesitated, torn between the frightened young man and the demon's servant wearing his face. In that struggle, the girl worked a druid spell of her own. The boy woke as if from a nightmare, weeping, freed from the dead man's hold, no longer the servant sent to destroy the prophecy. At last, he remembered everything. He was a fisherman's son, stolen from his brothers by cruel men, and his name was Malin. The girl told him hers. For one bright morning, the two were simply themselves and free. But peace never lasts in this land. A figure from the young fisherman's past found him, and in a burst of sudden violence, he was struck down. Crying out that he had atoned, he was torn from the girl's side, alone once more. The outcast druid had warned Kate that love is the sharpest weapon of all. Now the twisted spirit inside him reveals the horror. He was sent to destroy the very chosen one he was meant to protect. By a lonely fire he mourns. There should be 10,000 voices singing a name, he says, and a river of tears. Instead there is only him, one broken man carrying a grief no crowd will ever share. Sick of the pain, he begs a passing druid to end him. Sure, no one has ever suffered as much. But the answer is the same. All who are called by the gods must suffer, and his journey has barely begun. Far away, the Roman general rides into a captured hill fort and claims the high ground. A woman greets him warmly, the high priestess who once served the druids, now kneeling before a far darker master. A grinning stranger appears beside a grieving royal, picking apart every wound until the mourner surrenders. "Come here," he purrs. And with one quiet knife stroke, another servant is claimed for the demon. On a muddy track, the deserter is stopped by the officer sent to hunt him. He plays dumb, claiming he got lost. The officer lets him walk, but the warning is plain. If they mate again, there will be no mercy. The high priestess finds the vengeful queen and names them both ghosts now, ruined by Rome. If it is revenge you want, she says, the dead should stick together. A dark alliance takes root in the villa. The demon congratulates his broken servant on the ruin he has caused, halfway to their prize. He wants the girl, but he has waited 10,000 years, and patience is his one true gift. This time the story ends his way. The outcast druid finally snaps, swearing he will never obey the supreme druid again. But his teacher reveals the great secret. The supreme druid is not one man, but a title passed down for ages between two lost brothers. Long ago, two boys were taken by the druids. The younger became the supreme druid. The elder was cast into the woods and became the dead man. Hundreds have been chosen this way, all made to perish or transcend. A brutal ritual seizes the outcast, drums pounding as chanting rises. His body shakes and he screams until he passes through to the other side. The transformation takes hold and he becomes something new. In a clearing, the two ancient brothers meet at last, the supreme druid and the dead man who was once his kin. The challenge is set, oak against river, and the gods alone will decide which of them lives. The dead man boasts he twisted the maiden from her path and forces his brother to kneel. "For 10,000 years I lay in torment," he cries, "and now with one stroke I am avenged." But the blade never falls the way he plans. The supreme druid crumples, gasping the names of the two boys they once were. The old feud ends not in triumph but in ruin, both brothers broken by the same ancient cruelty that stole their childhoods. With his last strength, the dying elder twists the outcast's fate. Only the supreme druid can kill the dead man, and that is exactly what the outcast now is. "You are the arrow," he declares, a weapon aimed at the future. At a still lake, Kate and her father speak across worlds. "This water is the tears of the chosen," he tells her. "The gods choose the lost, the forsaken, the nameless, for only they can see the true path ahead." Kate hears it and rejects it all. "Fine," she snarls, cursing the gods and the prophecy both. "I am coming for you." Somewhere the demon watches, delighted, and murmurs that this, at last, is good. A tender memory surfaces. Long ago, the general played soldier with his own small son, pointing to a tiny yellow star the boy's dead mother loved. "Whenever it is dark and you feel alone," he says, "find that star and sing." But the memory rots into nightmare. The father leads his frightened son down into a stone tunnel built for the only god that matters. Bound to the demon, the general killed his own children in that dark place.
Where are we going?
It's not far.
It is the wound that made him the demon's slave. In the present, he is honored by Rome for capturing the sacred fortress, yet privately he seethes at how these stubborn tribes keep defying him. His demon master reminds him why the girl matters. It is not what she has done, but what she is going to do. Then a weapon at his side begins to burn, a strange sword tied to a haunting he cannot escape. Meanwhile, the fallen Cantii prince has runes carved into his shaved head before a cheering crowd. His old name is gone. From this day he takes a clumsy novice name, bound now to the druids who ruined his family. The reborn arrow is handed a task he loathes. He must school the experts in the ways of earth, wind, and fire. He protests, but it is the will of the gods, and there is not a moment to lose. The general rides out to meet the supreme druid and offers a bargain. Give him the girl, and the druids get their sacred lands returned in peace. In exchange, only the child. The druid refuses to be bought. "You would not be here if you were not afraid," the druid says. "The chosen one grows stronger with every moon, and the demon master grows angrier at every failure. The general warns that the underworld does not simply let you in. Back at the villa, the general's officer suspects a plot and confronts a scarred soldier serving Rome. They are both trapped men. He means to kill the general, he says, and he needs the soldier's help to do it. To free the soldier, he digs for the name of the god who knew him as a boy. The soldier resists, then cracks, remembering a goddess Rome tried to bury. Those old names are the first step out of the demon's grip. New guests arrive at the villa, led by a manic, giggling stranger. This is the general's demon wife, come to judge whether he has failed his master. Laka is angry, she warns. Everything they built could be destroyed. It is not that simple, the general argues. These druids are unlike any they have faced. Their gods buried deep in the soil, the rivers, the blood. But his wife has no patience. They do not have time, and the demon's love may run out. The demon wife notices the strange sword and presses about a missing officer, the deserter said to be shipped home. The general covers with lies, but her suspicion sharpens, and she demands the witch be sent for.
The children were playing with it outside.
Ooh.
Well, what else could it possibly be?
By the way, John, the Perfectus.
Lucia.
The manic emissary meets the captured Cantii priestess, sneering at her as a mere kept woman. But she is here on darker business. The real question, she says, is who is a friend and who is a snake. The outcast druid asks Kate why she truly came. The thing she feared most, she says, was not fire or death. It was love, because love finally made her feel like herself, before she lost it as the sun set. In the Great Hall, the general leads a mock renewal of marriage vows with his demon wife, all veils and false words. Then the rite twists, demanding a name, and the answer that breaks through is defiant. My name is Kate. The story circles on itself. The officer swears to kill the general. The demon wife declares the gods are dead. A ragged band gathers, all pulled toward the girl who cursed the gods and refused her prophecy. Far off in a cold pit, a bedraggled slave spins a wild tale of a fire-breathing dragon. She is the deposed Rigny queen, fallen to nothing, mocked by a cruel master while a ragged girl slave watches beside her. The general and his demon wife plot over the girl. She once had a sister who died in the invasion, and the girl would obey that sister. So the general must go into the underworld and speak to the dead. He agrees, but only with ground rules. No eating people without his say-so, no secrets, and her hated advisor must go. Their monstrous partnership is built on lies and a shared hunger for the girl. At a roadside, a sharp street girl runs a shell game, fleecing Roman soldiers with clever hands and quicker lies. This is Kate now, hiding under a false name, surviving on tricks instead of any grand destiny. Back at the druid camp, the guardian defends the girl fiercely. While everyone else hid and wrung their hands, he says, he took a tiny speck of a girl and made her into something. Only he truly knows her heart. After the show, a thug tries to rob Kate, but a scarred stranger drives him off. It is the deserter, the wandering ex-officer. Tired and weary, Kate lets him share his miserable camp and his worst wine.
Stay there.
He lists his 100 lives, soldier, beggar, and salt farmer, the last one catching her for her own father farmed salt. He gives his real name, Lucius. She gives hers, Caden. Two strangers finally trade something true. Then Lucius offers a story, daring her to spot the truth. He was once a Roman soldier guarding a distant temple, where they crucified men who called themselves messiahs. One had hung all day under a burning sun. His officer told him to end the dying man, so he took the man's spear and pushed it through his heart. But it felt as if he himself were stabbed, and when he looked up, the crucified man was glowing with pure light. Lucius turns to Kate and says it plainly. He knows who she is. He met her father, who told him everything, even her dead sister's name. He carries something for her, something vital, and she cannot escape it. Terrified, Kate bolts into the dark as Lucius calls after her. The deserter holds the spear from that crucifixion, the very weapon of the prophecy. But the girl who cursed the gods is not ready to be told she is chosen. Elsewhere, the slave girl feeds poison moon trees into her master's stew, and the whole household chokes and falls. As they die, the ragged slave transforms, revealing herself once more as the vengeful Rigny queen, freed at last. You will feel only the faintest flicker of my wrath, she tells the dying, for she is saving the true storm for one man. Then she screams her promise to the man who murdered her son. General, I am coming for you. The supreme druid's wound will not heal, and his followers are afraid. Nothing in the prophecy speaks of the girl killing the first man. They have entered a new age, so dark the words of the prophets can no longer be read.
What if he dies?
Does not pay, she says.
There's nothing in the prophecy about me kill. What's happening, Gwen? If the prophecy...
Whatever is unfolding is not yet written, the old teacher says. Still the guardian holds firm. She will not desert us. How can you be sure? Because I know her. His faith in the lost girl is the only prophecy he still trusts. The vengeful queen finds Kate again at a market, testing her with the very shell game the girl once ran. She saw straight through the trick. Two con artists recognize their own kind and decide to join forces on a quest for revenge. At the druid camp, strange guardians arrive to protect a new, small supreme druid, for the old one is dying. The time has come for the deep sleep, and the reborn arrow must prepare the leader for the end. The demon wife announces she will enter the underworld herself to find the dead sister and turn her against the girl. The witch warns her, "You do not enter the underworld," she says. "The underworld enters you." The old teacher speaks of a coming day when the sun does not rise, the earth lies black, and all their prayers become silent screams into nothing. The way ahead darkens and the flame flickers low. Kate and the queen pull a bold con in a rough tavern, playing lamp oil traders to lift a heavy cart of jars, the cargo disguised as humble turnips, though Kate barely knows what lamp oil even is. The stolen oil is part of a bigger, more dangerous scheme. Posing as traders, the two women turn their horses toward a Roman camp, talk their way inside, and scheme a night in the absent centurion's quarters.
Foilies. We burn pigs out in buckets.
Oh, phase 3 of the big plan. What? Whoa.
Kate slips away and meets a young Roman soldier who saw through her disguise. Instead of turning her in, he likes her. He shows her his comfort, picking a star each night to send a message home to his mother. It is the same tender ritual the general once taught his doomed son, one small light shared across this cruel story. Alone afterward, Kate speaks to her own dead father through the sky. Then a cart rumbles in, the queen shouts, and the stolen oil erupts. The whole Roman camp goes up in flames. This was the plan all along. From the blaze, the queen screams her promise once more. "Aulus, I am coming for you." In the underworld, the general hunts the dead sister. A guide leads him toward the dead, and there she is, speaking of a beautiful child, drawing him ever deeper into the demon's design. Kate meets the vengeful queen again, who asks what she is running from. "The supreme druid thinks I am part of a prophecy," Kate admits. "And are you?" "No. Even if I was, I am not anymore." "Good," the queen laughs. The reborn arrow returns from the underworld filled with sadness and fear. It is not the same place anymore, he tells his teacher. Their dead have suffered too much, and the underworld itself is dying, its gods fading with each dawn. But he saw hope too. If the spear of the silver dawn has come, then hope remains. And there was someone else down there in the dark. A shadow moving through the world of the dead that should never have been there at all. The blind deserter Lucius finds Kate again in the hills. She breaks down and the truth of her lost father pours out. But Lucius speaks of the spear a friend carries, brought from the east meant for her. This is the spear of the silver dawn, Kate finally admits, the one from the prophecy. When the chosen one holds it, she will unite the tribes and drive the demon back into the sea. The weapon and the reluctant girl draw together at last. But the moment shatters. Something dark seizes Kate, and she turns violent, striking at the men around her. The demon inside her is awake, and it does not want the spear found. In the chaos, her father is struck down before her eyes. At the villa, the general returns to find his witch dead, and the manic emissary in her place. She gloats that when the supreme druid gets a message from her, he shakes with terror. So why, she asks, is the great druid not here?
Where's my wife?
Well, it's a small world.
I mean the high priestess. When you went...
By her fire, the vengeful queen tells Kate the root of her hatred. The general took her, betrayed her, and murdered her only child. She will not rest until she has vengeance for the boy who was her world. Then she tells the grieving Kate the hard truth. Her father is gone and she must accept it or she will go mad, the way the queen went mad long ago. Two broken women share one fire and one bottomless grief. The plan to kill the general is alive, and it must happen today before the emissary returns. In the underworld, Kate's sister confirms the great druid is dead, yet has not seen him there. A thread of doubt remains. Battered but alive, Kate comes at last to the vengeful queen and asks for help. The queen listens as the girl speaks of the spear. "Tell me everything you know," she says, and the two lost women bind their fates together. Inside his stolen villa, the Roman general is confronted by the demon's manic emissary. He admits his wife met secretly with the caged witch, to learn what the druids understand about the master they now all serve, the demon Laka. That night, the emissary turns the meal into a cruel game. He lifts a small vial and warns that one drop will boil a body from the inside. The demon's servants circle one another with knives behind their smiles. Far away, the salt farm girl gathers a strange band. The fallen Cantii prince, the bitter deposed queen, a jittery Cantii boy, a young novice druid, and the outcast druid who trained her. The supreme druid declares the prophecy alive again. Before the gathered druids, he proclaims that the chosen one has returned. A stranger has come from the east carrying the spear of the silver dawn, and only once that weapon is found can she lead them into the light. But the girl refuses to be a puppet. She does not do this for a prophecy or for any of them, but for herself. The bitter queen mutters that for her it is only cold revenge, and all she wants is the spear found before Rome. Meanwhile, the emissary crows that he has caught a druid. In a haunted memory, the general kneels before the ghost of the child he once destroyed, who asks whether he is sorry for what he did.
Say, I've been a clever girl.
Oh, yeah?
Evie?
He answers no because he loves his true master, the demon, with all his heart. He speaks of a strange dream, a plain wooden cross from which pure light shone. He does not understand it, and it frightens him. On the road, a grubby smuggler tells the band their quarry, the Roman deserter, is held in a prison camp days to the west. The way is too dangerous for her, so she sells them her silent, foul-smelling sister as guide. As they travel, the prince needles about the spear. Nobody knows what it looks like or where it came from. The prophecy is short on detail, and the whole path feels arranged, like a trap being carefully set for them. They reach Wary Hill country, and the girl goes ahead alone. Wise women warn her that the lowlands are cursed, and the high hills will carry the chosen one safely. But the outcast druid disagrees, his gut saying the low road is the trap. She trusts the wise women and overrules him. Meanwhile, the priestess and emissary reveal how they lured the witch by playing the vengeful wife. The emissary orders his captured druid to dig up the last secret the supreme druid would want revealed. The prince keeps pestering the outcast druid, and finally a fragment slips. The spear was once used to kill a powerful druid the old kings feared, tied to a cross before he was struck. The truth of the weapon begins to surface. Suddenly, a fierce hill tribe surrounds the band and orders them killed. But the bitter queen is recognized, and the warriors roar with joy and hail her. The death sentence becomes a feast, and old loyalty saves them from slaughter. Meanwhile, the general bargains with the smuggler for news. She tells him his wife is heading his way, and that the supreme druid hunts the same deserter he wants. When his own man objects to her price, she kills him at once.
Well, depends. What have you got for me?
No, that depends on what you've got.
Everything all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Your wife?
Sorry, how do you know my wife?
At the feast, the warriors toast the queen, then jeer about the dead Cantii king and his children, not knowing the fallen prince sits among them. When they demand the jittery boy insult his own people, he nearly gives them away. The boy saves himself with a ridiculous song, and the tribe roars along. The prince swallows every insult to his dead family in silence, keeping the whole band alive by staying invisible. Survival here means hiding who you truly are. At dawn, the girl and the prince wait close together, teasing each other. She confesses she once truly believed she was a goddess, that it consumed her, and warns him this feels different. Then the band rides on into war country. On the road, they find a village raided and its people slaughtered. The girl hears a mother screaming that soldiers stole her small son, and something breaks in her. Against wise counsel, she rides after the raiders alone. She catches the raiders and in a swift, deadly rush cuts them down and frees the terrified boy. Cradling him, she whispers that he is safe. For a moment, the killer of prophecy is simply a girl saving a child. But as she carries the boy home, a cold whisper reaches her ear. One of them will betray you. When she reaches the house, the parents scream at her to leave, insisting they have no son. The rescue twists into a nightmare. The band travels on, and the girl snaps at her old teacher for demanding why she ran off alone. He pleads with her to think, warning that unseen forces are now turning against her.
Time to discuss what happened back there?
Just leave me alone.
Sure. Risking everything? What were you doing?
Isn't everything I do the gods' bidding? That's what everyone keeps.
She tells him about the whisper. One of them will betray you. He calls it not a warning but a threat, and tells her to learn who the traitor is. Then she asks the question that haunts her. How does she know it is not him? To break the tension, the prince tries to teach her archery, boasting of his childhood training as a Cantii prince. But a string snaps, an arrow flies loose, and the band scatters. Every small piece here is snatched away almost at once. At the villa, the priestess reveals her plan. A feast will honor the demon while the general is away. Their master grows impatient and needs a sacrifice, and she wants a fine one, a precious jewel worth killing. Below the villa, she goes to the caged witch and demands to be taken to the underworld before the feast. The witch sees through her but offers a bargain, revealing a hidden passage under the stables that leads to a breach in the wall. On the road, the outcast druid tries his mystic pebble on the silent guide, asking who should be watched. She snarls that the young novice druid is about to stab someone in the back. The warning lands, but nobody yet believes it. He tries the stone on the bitter queen, and she opens up instead. She was a mother once, bursting with happiness until Rome came. Now anger is all she has left, and grief drives this ragged band more than any prophecy. Then the novice druid corners the outcast alone and turns his own trick against him. As he stares into the stone, his face goes slack, and a cold voice tells him to surrender to Laka. The traitor among them has struck first. At the prison camp, the captured deserter waits calmly, telling the condemned men the truth. He holds the spear of the Silver Dawn. Years ago, at a crucifixion outside Jerusalem, a dying mystic looked at him and forgave him, and that spear can change worlds. The band reaches a ridge above the filthy camp and spots the cart that carried the deserter. The guards look careless, and it seems something will finally be easy. But horns blow and a Roman column thunders in, changing everything. The general himself sweeps into the camp, walks straight to the caged deserter and greets him. "Hello, old friend." The one man who holds the spear is now in Roman hands, at the mercy of the demon's puppet. That night at the distant villa, the feast for the demon begins. The priestess welcomes her guests, chanting rises, and she names the offering. A precious possession, a beautiful jewel. The screaming begins.
Welcome.
As the demon's power floods the hall, the witch drags the priestess toward the hidden passage. But the supreme druid himself confronts the demon, who warns that if he is struck down, every druid and every myth will be wiped from memory forever. The old man does not flinch. At the prison camp, the general pries the spear's secret from his stammering housekeeper, learning it lies buried at a high ridge in the east. The location that could turn the war has reached Rome. The general goes to the caged deserter and demands the spear. But the deserter mocks him, saying the weapon is powerless in his hands, and that a light inside guides him. He has faced his own wrongs, which the general cannot do. Lost in the wilds, the priestess reveals the fatal secret. The general once sacrificed his own son and began seeing things. The emissary explains his craft. He takes a soul's fear and loss and pushes until it breaks apart. He boasts that he sent the stolen boy to plant doubt in the girl, and that all his birds are gathering into one nest. Meanwhile, the band studies a great stone bridge, where the Roman soldiers must break formation to cross single file. They decide to strike there. The general clings to the mad wraith of his lost daughter, but she says she is not just his anymore. Then the emissary reveals the last horror. The general did not only kill his son, he gave away his daughter, and that child now belongs to the demon. She is the emissary. In a hidden place, the supreme druid chants over the girl. To come this far, she had to believe her every act was prophecy, but now something different must happen. They will see, he says, whether the gods chose right. The outcast druid tries to guide her past the prophecy itself. She has been like a bell, he says, but now she must become the ring of the bell, releasing herself from everything and stepping beyond into the unknown. The bitter queen reveals she too was once named a chosen one by a druid. Faith, she says, springs not from rivers and trees, but from the mouths of men who want to be feared. No god chose the girl. She is just a brave child named Kate.
Oh, you're Baron. There's been plenty, Baron. You do quite a shy. 14. He walked straight past my 3.
Alone, the girl finally cracks. She chose everyone in the band, so if one betrays her, the betrayer is really herself. But the outcast druid insists this is not yet the real trial, which lies beyond anything she now fears. Night falls and the Roman column reaches the Great Bridge, halting to clear wreckage exactly as the band predicted. Hidden in the dark, the girl's people creep into position, and the deserter's friends free him from his chains. But the deserter is badly wounded. The general finds him and speaks almost tenderly, grieving for his own dead son, then carries him away toward his demon wife. It is a trap, and the deserter knows it too late. The demon tears out of the general in a burst of horror, and men struggle to bind him as the chant rises. Spill the blood, drink his love. The bridge becomes a swirling nightmare of soldiers, demons, and screams in the dark. The girl is nearly captured, and the general roars for his men to take her alive. Her silent guide throws herself in the way so the girl can run. The band scatters broken, and the prince pulls her free. Then the traitor shows her face. The novice druid stands over the wounded girl and speaks with the demon's voice. Surrender to Laka. You have no chance. The whisper was true all along, and the betrayer was inside the band from the start. The band fractures into bitter accusation. The jittery boy finally confesses he once had a child with the novice druid, and that last night her eyes were empty. The traitor is named at last. The outcast druid confirms it. The novice is the demon's servant among them, and their foul-smelling guide is dead too, fallen from the bridge. The band is smaller and grieving, but at last it knows the shape of its enemy. Inside a captured fort, the general drops all pretense with the wraith of his son. He admits the boy is dead and asks who wears the face. The thing answers, naming itself at last. Mighty Laka, his master.
So what's the plan?
I think we're beyond that now, don't you? Why'd you call me father? I'm not your father.
On a road that murders the land, the girl and prince meet a bound man, rejoicing that his tribe will sacrifice him. The tribe seizes the band and demands proof they are druids, testing them with a wild, roaring ride of the great stones. The outcast druid ends up riding the raw magic of the road, laughing that this is his true calling. It is a mad carnival of the land's own power, a brief strange joy before the darkest turn of the story. The tribe prepares to sacrifice the prince, but arrows cut the executioners down at the last second. The band survives again, and learns the Romans have gone to a fort in a valley on Old Cimbri land. At the fort, the general and his demon wife dance and laugh in a whirl of madness. The emissary explains the demon's whole method. They crank fear and loss into pure madness until a person breaks open, and there the sacrifice is found. The general and emissary torture the recaptured deserter, offering the same escape they gave the general. All that horror, they whisper, was divine destiny. He nearly breaks but remembers the dying man he speared, who was no ordinary man. In that man's eyes, the deserter says, was a light his tormentors will never understand. He holds to the one word they cannot corrupt, breathed out like a shield. Forgiveness. It is the only thing the demon cannot twist. The girl reaches her own final reckoning. A memory of her sister calls her to fly, but the demon's whisper follows even there, and then a vast voice answers from within. I am here. I am within you. Your journey is complete.
You have wings.
The demon urges her to let go, but she screams and refuses. The voices of her dead sister and the old druid rally her, and the dead chant her name. She wrestles the demon inside her own soul and does not surrender. Word comes that the girl means to storm the fort and kill the general, and her people warn it is exactly what the demon wants. It is his sacrifice, just like his master craves. The trap is baited with her own courage. She strides toward the Roman soldiers unafraid, and as they draw their swords, she calls on all the gods and commands them, with a single word, to kneel. For one moment, her power seems real, but the general screams for his men to take her, and arrows fly. In the fight, the dying deserter presses the spear of the Silver Dawn into her hands and tells her to carry it forward. The weapon everyone bled for is hers. The emissary lunges to stop her but is struck down. Bleeding out, he still laughs, insisting the power she carries will light the world, twisting even his death into the demon's design. The girl fights free and flees the fort. The general's counterattack routs the tribes, and the dying emissary knows it is too late. He laughs out the prophecy a last time. One of them will betray you. My victory, he gasps, dying as he proclaims Locke's triumph.
Too late. One of them are you.
The salt farm girl escapes into the summer hills carrying the spear. The prophecy paid off but never resolved. She has survived and holds the power, yet the demon still rides the general and rules Rome. The war for Britannia's soul is unfinished. The last image is not victory, but a fragile, uncertain grace. A hymn of sins washed away rises over the land as the chosen child carries the forgiven man's spear forward, with light and darkness still at war for Britannia.